This is Andy Serkis' second movie as a director. You know Andy Serkis. Even if you don't know you know him, you definitely know him. He played Gollum, King Kong, Caesar in the new Planet of the Apes movies. You can basically pick any big motion capture movie from the last 20 years, and that was probably him. But now he's making his own movies, and I actually just watched his first movie before this one, and I liked that one a lot. I thought it was beautiful and really touching. But I was still more curious than actually excited to watch this one, because well, it looked like a live-action Jungle Book movie, and Disney just made one of those about 2 years ago, and it was pretty good. But yeah, I was still curious to see what he'd do with it. And well, it's a bit different, but it's also very similar to the Disney version. It's darker, more gritty, less fun. There's no song and dance numbers, and while the first half of the story is almost identical, the second half veers off in a bit of a different path. But then it still ends up in pretty much the same place, so the story is virtually the same. Not that that's surprising, it's based on the same material. I just don't know what their motivations for making this movie right now was. It seems like a pretty odd choice to make. And another odd choice is the overall character design. And the tone too, because I just wonder who it's aimed at. I mean, these designs aren't nearly as cute and cuddly as the Disney versions. They're actually sorta ugly, some of them at least, and I really wasn't a fan of the direction they went with. And as I mentioned, there's no songs and the overall tone is a lot more serious. So is it aimed at kids? Because I'd bet 98% of them would choose to watch the Disney version. And so would I, to be honest. I mean, you could argue that this one had a bit more depth than the other one, but not enough to make it stand out. And it's a story virtually everyone's heard before too. So I don't really understand why they decided to make this thing, especially right now. It felt kinda redundant as an idea, and having seen it, it still feels kinda redundant. That being said, it's not a bad movie, but it's also nowhere near as good as it needed to be, if they wanted it to stand out against the Disney version. And to be honest, a lot of it is actually not even as good as the Disney version. Like I said, the character design just isn't that good, and the animation didn't look that great either. And especially some of the faces looked really weird. And I think I know why. I mean, I really should have looked this up, but I think they used motion capture for the faces. So they kinda had to make the animal faces look a bit more human than they should have, and it ended up looking really weird. That being said, the voice acting is top notch. And there's one scene in particular with Bagheera, voiced by Christian Bale, that was phenomenal. Like, he went all out. Some of the best voice acting I've ever seen. Or heard, I guess. But it's really only that one scene, and the rest of it is just good. And the kid playing Mowgli, he wasn't bad, but I don't think he was as good as the kid in the Disney version either. So this thing kinda fell short on almost all fronts, and I'm not sure what else to say about it. It just wasn't that great and felt like a completely unnecessary movie. There was just no need to make this right now, unless they could have done something really extraordinary, which they didn't, and I don't even know if this was a passion project for Andy Serkis or what. But his first movie was just leagues above this one in just about every way. So would I recommend it? No, not really. I mean, why? When you could just watch one of the Disney versions. So probably skip this one. Or don't. I'm not your jungle daddy.